Appreciate everybody being here. Reforming the United States Secret Service is not a partisan issue. Ranking Member Cummings and I have presented a united front on this issue, and I look forward to continuing this important work with him on both sides of the aisle. The most important mission for the Secret Service is protecting the President and his family. However, a litany of recent mishaps raised major concerns. In 2011, nobody recognized shots were fired at the White House until bullets were discovered by maintenance staff. It has been well publicized that Secret Service agents engaged in misconduct in Cartagena, Amsterdam, and Miami. In September of last year, a security contractor with an arrest record rode in an elevator with the President in Atlanta armed with a gun, completely unbeknownst to the President's detail. A few days later, a man armed with a knife jumped the White House fence, made it past the Secret Service well into the White House. And now on March 4th, the second in command of the President's detail drove his car through a crime scene involving a bomb threat while the President was in the White House. This has to stop. The Secret Service has a zero-fail mission to protect our President and his family. This is especially true for the President's protective detail, or what is often referred to as the PPD. We need to understand why these incidents keep happening. This committee requested the special agent in charge of the PPD, Robert Buster, attend a bipartisan closed-door briefing regarding the incident. Director Clancy said no. The committee requested the supervisors on duty before and during the incident of March to testify today, but Director Clancy said no. We asked Director Clancy to turn over video footage of the incident, and again, the director said no. In our closed-door briefing last week, Director Clancy was unable to adequately answer questions about the events of March 4th. Instead, he asserted that by referring the matter to the Inspector General, he was unable to ask any questions of his own. But Congress is also doing an investigation. To not do an investigation would be malpractice on our part. Congress has a role, we have a duty, we have a responsibility to conduct our own investigation. By refusing to allow the witnesses we invited to testify with firsthand knowledge of the incident, Director Clancy is keeping Congress and the American people in the dark. On top of that, the Secret Service has missed every deadline to provide this committee with information, with no legitimate explanation as to why. It is unclear why Director Clancy is choosing at the start of his tenure to be so unhelpful to Congress. While I was hopeful Director Clancy would assist Congress in understanding how we can restore the agency to its prior stature, this does not appear to be the case. The March 4th incident is concerning on three major points. Number one, the interference of crime scenes by senior Secret Service personnel. Number two, allegations involving decisions, communications, and dispositions of senior Secret Service personnel. And number three, the agency's apparent botched response to a bomb threat while the President was in the White House. Although the Secret Service has refused to provide video footage of the incident, the Metropolitan D.C. Police Department has. Initially, I had indicated that I was frustrated about the lack of response by the Metropolitan Police Department. This was based on information given to us by the Secret Service. I was critical of the chief and suggested that Chief Lanier was going to get a nasty gram from Congress, which we sent. But I can tell you, I have nothing but praise and thankfulness for her and her department and agency for swiftly and completely responding to Congress's requests. We appreciate her, the men and women who work at the Metropolitan Police Department, and their swift response to our requests. It certainly stands in great contrast from what we've seen from the Secret Service. Now, we're going to show part of a video here that was provided to us by the Metropolitan Police Department, but a few things before you see this. On March 4th at 10:24 p.m., a woman drove her vehicle to a security gate outside the White House fence line on 15th Street and left a package she claimed to be a bomb. Secret Service agents and officers at the scene confronted the suspect but were unable to apprehend her. The package sat unattended as traffic drove by for a long period of time. It took 11 minutes for the Secret Service to call the Metropolitan Police Department bomb squad. For 17 minutes, 17 minutes. Traffic continued through the intersection and several pedestrians walked within feet of the potential bomb. I don't understand how that happens. When the Secret Service finally did call, they failed to mention to the Metro Police Department that it was an actual bomb threat rather than just a suspicious package. And has been explained to us, there is a difference. There's a difference in the response time and the approach that they take. You can understand how around the perimeter of the White House, there are oftentimes items that are left unattended. But it's a wholly different situation when somebody comes up and places at the perimeter of the White House a package that they claim to be an actual bomb. Let me show this video, and I'll try to best I can. We have this, we'll put this up on our YouTube channel, to try to describe what's happening. It's 10:30 at roughly 10:20 plus at night, 15th Street. There's the car, it pulls up. You can start to see the person who has dropped off the bomb, and then you'll see an officer come out and try to apprehend the person. They've actually been charged now with a variety of different crimes. The potential bomb really sits next to that building right there. And again, we're doing time-lapse video, but you can see the cars have been driving by and whatnot. Then we're zooming in here, and you can see that the agents that were in question about what they were doing. This is a full 30 minutes after the initial would-be bomb was placed there. You can see that there are some big cones or big barrels that are put out. Now, again, we got two crime scenes at this point. The assault on the officer, and then you have within just a couple of feet, you can see they're actually bumping into that barricade there. That is not much of a barricade in my personal opinion, but driving right within a couple of feet of this would-be bomb, which begs a lot of additional questions. It takes the Secret Service and the Metropolitan Police Department about an hour and 20 minutes to finally come to the conclusion that this is not a bomb and that the scene is then rendered safe. An officer followed the suspect in her car. So we get to another part of the story which begs a lot of questions. Somebody drives up, drops off a would-be bomb, and then the Secret Service actually gets an officer behind this person. But they were mistakenly called off the pursuit when the Secret Service identified the wrong car as the suspects. So actually right behind, I can only imagine this officer saying, I've got this person in my sights, but instead of pulling this person over, instead of maybe going to that extra step to just check, gets waved off. And they pursue another car who isn't actually the suspect. 30 minutes after the woman fled the scene, the Secret Service finally issued a BOLO, a be on the lookout, for a vehicle to local law enforcement. Metropolitan Police Department didn't know for 30 minutes what vehicle they were to be looking for. 30 minutes. The suspect was finally arrested 3 days later, 90 miles away, by a different police agency on unrelated charges. The day before she was arrested, she was interviewed by the Secret Service agent, but the Secret Service claimed they were unable to arrest her and instead canceled the lookout for the woman. Back at the White House on March 4th, two senior Secret Service agents, including Mark Connolly, the president's second in command of his protective detail, disrupted the crime scene. These agents placed themselves, their colleagues, and the president and his family in potential danger by driving their government vehicle through a barricade within feet of a potential bomb. Under Secret Service policy, video footage of the incident should have been retained. However, most of the footage, evidently, according to the Secret Service, has mysteriously gone missing. I find this highly suspicious. In a briefing last week, Director Clancy and Deputy Secretary Mayorkas played committee members two tapes of the incident that showed the same few seconds from two different angles. Just a few seconds out of an incident that lasted more than an hour and 20 minutes. There were 8 members there, 3 committee chairmen, several ranking members, 4 Democrats, 4 Republicans. Though limited, the footage clearly showed the agents purposely moving the barricade aside with their car. I want to set aside for a second the concern that the Secret Service is only maintaining video footage for one of the most important buildings in our country for only 72 hours. That makes absolutely no sense on any level to me. Because there are issues related to national security, the prosecution of the actual event, and the basic ability to learn from past instances as we're having to deal with now. But based on the Secret Service policy, video footage of this incident should nevertheless been retained. We have 2 crime scenes that should have immediately been highlighted. Yet an agency spokesperson told CNN, quote, "In the event of an operational security incident at the White House complex, specific video footage is maintained for investigative and protective intelligence purposes." That would seem to make sense, but that's not what's happened here. Yet Director Clancy and Deputy Secretary Mayorkas only showed 2 very limited views of the incident to the committee. Does a potential bomb near the White House not qualify as a, quote, "an operational security incident," end quote? If a potential bomb doesn't qualify, then what does? These tapes should have been retained, and this committee intends to find out why they were not. We were only shown seconds of a video for an incident that lasted for more than an hour. Director Clancy, today we expect answers, and we expect you to know them. We're nearly 3 weeks after the incident. To help you prepare for the hearing today, my staff reached out to your Congressional Affairs Office to let you know what subjects we would be covering here today. Your staff was fully briefed on what we expect you to know. I want to let you know that the "I don't know" strategy is not going to sit well with our committee. We look forward to your answering the questions and providing clarity on what happened March 4th. We do appreciate you being here. I can tell you that you have been personally very accessible, and I greatly, personally, very much appreciate that.